Battle Through the Heavens, Annual Series, Episode 167 Preview has been updated. Following Xiao Yan's brutal beating of Feng Qing'er, everyone, under Han Yu's lead, jointly charged into the beast tide. Ultimately, most became cannon fodder. Only Xiao Yan, Han Yu's heavenly demon, and a few other teams like the royal clan managed to pass through the beast tide and arrived before the Bodhi ancient tree. Here, everyone's hearts trembled once more, because ahead, 5 half-saint level puppets blocked their path. One of them was even Han Yu's Han clan ancestor. Clearly, these half-saints had all been refined by the Bodhi ancient tree. Suppressing the emotions in their hearts, Xiao Yan and the others clearly divided their tasks, with each small team assigned to deal with one puppet. Since the half-saint puppets lacked sentience, their combat strength was far from comparable to true Dou saints. Thus, after a fierce battle, these puppets all perished. After dealing with the puppets, it wasn't long before everyone arrived at the base of the Bodhi ancient tree. They knew well that to obtain the legendary Bodhi heart, their greatest danger was the Bodhi ancient tree itself. Soon after, as a golden light flared, Xiao Yan and the others were all pulled into the Bodhi ancient tree's body. At this moment, Xiao Yan fell into an illusion where he possessed the strength of a Dou saint, slaughtering his way through the soul palace and leaving rivers of blood. Just as Xiao Yan was immersed in this frenzied slaughter, fortunately, the Bodhi seed within him emitted a cool sensation, causing him to abruptly awaken. Had it not been for this, he would likely have remained trapped in the illusion, eventually becoming a walking corpse, just like those half-saint puppets. Suddenly, this space shattered. As he regained his senses, a miniature Bodhi ancient tree appeared before his eyes, its entire body emerald green and exuding boundless vitality. Under Xiao Yan's gaze, luminous orbs drifted out from within the ancient tree, each reflecting various images. Xiao Yan's gaze swept over them, and his expression drastically changed, for the images within these luminous orbs were none other than Suner and Han Yu, who had entered the Bodhi ancient tree with him. At this moment, they were all trapped within their respective illusions. Witnessing this scene, Xiao Yan immediately felt that the ancient tree was far too strange, and a burst of anger surged forth from him. He roared furiously, "Bodhi ancient tree, what exactly do you want to do?" Hearing his furious roar, the Bodhi ancient tree swayed slightly, revealing a profound secret. Another luminous orb appeared. Within the orb, on one side was the towering Bodhi ancient tree, tens of thousands of feet tall, while on the other was a black shadow, seemingly a supreme overlord of heaven and earth. Under the aura of that black shadow, even the colossal Bodhi ancient tree, tens of thousands of feet in size, appeared quite insignificant. Witnessing this scene, Xiao Yan's very soul trembled, for that black shadow was a Dou emperor. The next moment, the black shadow attempted to extract the Bodhi ancient tree's life essence to heal itself. Instantly, the two engaged in a great battle, with rumbling sounds of heaven and earth shattering. Finally, the Bodhi ancient tree teamed up with another mysterious Dou emperor, and together, they shattered the black-robed Dou emperor into nothingness. However, though the black-robed Dou emperor had fallen, his negative emotions rushed into the Bodhi ancient tree. Under countless years of erosion, the Bodhi ancient tree began to lean towards evil. In other words, the Bodhi ancient tree was originally benevolent, but later, those illusions were automatically condensed from its evil intentions. After watching these images, Xiao Yan was profoundly shaken. The Bodhi ancient tree was actually connected to 2 Dou emperors. Soon after, Xiao Yan looked at the ancient tree and mused, "Are you trying to make me help you dispel those negative emotions?" As his words fell, the ancient tree swayed, as if nodding. Seeing this, Xiao Yan shook his head helplessly. With his strength as a 9-star Dou Zun, how could he possibly clear a Dou emperor's negative emotions? However, no sooner had his words fallen than another luminous orb image emerged from the ancient tree. It showed that as long as a Bodhi seed was refined with a flame, that Bodhi seed could transform into pure energy to purify those negative emotions. After the image finished, the ancient tree produced 24 even purer Bodhi seeds, which floated beside Xiao Yan. Witnessing this scene, Xiao Yan's mouth couldn't help but twitch. Although the Bodhi seeds weren't as terrifying as the Bodhi heart, they still had the effect of increasing the success rate of advancing to Dou Zun. He forcefully suppressed the urge to grab them all and flee. After all, this was the Bodhi ancient tree's territory, and with its abilities, making him die 1,000 times over would be simple. Thereafter, Xiao sat cross-legged and began refining the Bodhi seeds. However, refining these Bodhi seeds was exceptionally difficult. Just one almost depleted all of his Dou Qi. Afterward, the pure energy transformed from the Bodhi seed drilled into the ancient tree, causing the black aura of the Bodhi ancient tree to become somewhat thinner. Seeing Xiao exhaustion, the Bodhi ancient tree swayed. Then, it produced an ancient meditation mat and had Xiao sit upon it. The next moment, an incredibly pure and potent energy surged into Xiao body. Instantly, Xiao was fully revived. Moreover, the capacity for Dou Qi storage within his body expanded several times over. Thus, with the Bodhi ancient tree's energy support, Xiao immediately began refining furiously. Unknowingly, when the last Bodhi seed was refined, the Bodhi ancient tree's negative emotions were also completely purged. At this moment, the latter emitted a great green radiance, giving off a strange feeling of peace and wisdom. Seeing this, Xiao smiled faintly. Then, a weariness originating from his soul caused him to slowly fall into a deep sleep. Witnessing this scene, the Bodhi ancient tree, as if grateful, gently touched Xiao head. Afterward, it integrated Xiao into the very core of its tree body. As Xiao was pulled into the ancient tree's body, a strange fluctuation spread forth. Mysteriously, the space here cracked open, and Sooner and all the others were unceremoniously expelled. Suddenly appearing in this strange space, everyone's expressions changed. Even Sooner, Hanyu, and the others couldn't remain composed. The previous illusion had been too realistic. If not for a sudden peculiar fluctuation, they would likely have remained trapped in it for an entire lifetime. Snapping back to reality, Sooner's gaze suddenly fixed on Xiao figure within the ancient tree. Brother Xiao. As Sooner's expression shifted, the others also witnessed this scene. Gu Qingyang immediately stopped Sooner, telling her not to act rashly. He suggested, perhaps this is Xiao great fortuitous encounter. Hearing this, Sooner finally came to her senses. According to records, the Bodhi ancient tree possessed 3 treasures: the Bodhi heart, the Bodhi seeds, and the enlightenment beneath the Bodhi tree. While the first 2 were straightforward, the third possessed the miraculous effect of allowing one to experience 100 lifetimes of reincarnation. Those who underwent such tempering through cycles of rebirth would gain the potential to step into the Dou Emperor realm. On the other side, the surrounding people also stared fervently at Xiao within the ancient tree. Although the enlightenment beneath the Bodhi tree seemed ethereal and indistinct, the potential it brought was enough to drive anyone mad. Seeing Xiao stumble upon such a heaven-sent benefit, Jiao Feng was filled with raging jealousy. Hanyu, on the other hand, wore a face full of regret. He lamented that if not for the Gu clan's intervention, he would have long since summoned his clan's experts to kill Xiao when the tide turned. However, in this space, spatial restrictions were ineffective, making it impossible to summon his clan's experts. Thus, Hanyu and Jiao Feng exchanged a glance and immediately sent a fierce, full-force palm strike toward Xiao within the tree. Seeing this, Sooner's expression changed. She immediately charged furiously towards Hanyu and Jiao Feng, shouting, "Hanyu, you dare!" Hanyu and Jiao Feng, however, directly ignored her attack. Their palms then heavily slammed into the ancient tree. With a crack, Hanyu and Jiao Feng's attacks couldn't harm Xiao at all. Instead, the ancient tree unleashed a terrifying rebound force that directly sent them flying backward, causing them to spit out mouthfuls of old blood. Witnessing this scene, Sooner finally sighed in relief. However, her anger quickly flared up again as she looked at the fallen Hanyu and Jiao Feng. Seeing Sooner wanting to beat a drowning dog, the experts of the Soul Clan and the Heavenly Demon Phoenix Clan quickly rushed over to protect them. At this tense moment, Gu Qingyang hastily urged Sooner not to act rashly. He explained, After all, if both sides clash fiercely, the commotion would be too great and might wake Xiao, resulting in an immense loss for him. Hearing this, Sinner nodded slightly. The space here was now extremely stable, preventing them from tearing it open to leave. Thus, they could only wait here for Xiao to awaken. Fortunately, the abundant energy made it a good place for cultivation. On the other side, Han Yu and Jiao Feng wiped away the blood from their lips, both feeling extremely unwilling and resentful. However, constrained by the Bodhi ancient tree's protection over Xiao, they could only watch helplessly as he monopolized that fortuitous encounter. Unconsciously, over a month passed quickly. Within the ancient tree, Xiao finally slowly opened his eyes. In an instant, an ancient and profound aura spread out. Everyone was startled by his gaze, feeling as if their very souls were laid bare before his eyes. Soon after, Xiao slowly awakened and walked out from within the ancient tree. In just this 1 month, he had experienced 100 cycles of reincarnation and tempering, facing dangers no less intense than clashing with a true Dou Saint expert. Through these 100 cycles of reincarnation, he had advanced to the peak of the 9 revolving Dou Venerate realm. Seeing Xiao finally emerge, Sooner, Kaylin, and the others all hurried over, asking, "Brother Xiao, are you all right?" Hearing this, Xiao shook his head. He then turned and cupped his fist towards the Bodhi ancient tree, saying, "Many thanks." In response, the Bodhi ancient tree shook its body. Seeing this, everyone exclaimed in wonder, realizing, so this thing actually has sentience. It simply disdained to bother with them. Soon after, Gu Qingyang, who was nearby, also noticed that Xiao strength had advanced considerably. Even he, a 6 revolving Dou Venerate, could no longer discern Xiao true power. Xiao did not deny that he had advanced from the 9-star Dou Venerate to the peak of the 9 revolving Dou Venerate realm. In just 1 month, he had achieved what others couldn't in 10 years. Although the speed was terrifying, he understood that such a feat would have been impossible without the fortuitous encounter of 100 lifetimes of reincarnation. Afterward, Xiao gaze turned towards Han Yu and Jiao Feng, who were not far away. He now felt confident he could manipulate them like puppets. Seeing Xiao coldly smirk at them, Han Yu and Jiao Feng couldn't help but clench their fists, as they now felt a sense of danger emanating from him. If only we had known this brat had such a great fortuitous encounter, they thought. We should have killed him on the spot when we first met him to save trouble. However, Han Yu and Jiao Feng didn't know that if not for Xiao helping the Bodhi ancient tree clear the Dou Emperor's negative emotions, they would likely have remained trapped in the illusion and eventually ended up as semi-saint puppets. Soon after, the Bodhi ancient tree suddenly spat out over 20 verdant Bodhi seeds, which hovered in midair. Seeing this, everyone's eyes immediately turned bloodshot. "Bodhi seeds," they cried, "those can increase the chances of advancing to Dou Saint." Immediately, they all pounced and grabbed at them. In response, Xiao waved his hand, and as if by magic, all the Bodhi seeds flashed into his hands. "Many thanks for the generous gift, Brother Bodhi," Xiao said. Clutching the Bodhi seeds, he flicked his finger, giving some to Sooner, Kaylin, Gu Qingyang, and the others. Then, Xiao once again flicked his finger, giving a few more to the neutral experts. Receiving the Bodhi seeds, those neutral experts cupped their fists in thanks and immediately retreated. They understood that Xiao didn't want them to get involved in what was to come. Seeing Xiao continuously distributing the Bodhi seeds, but still not giving any to them, Han Yu and Jiao Feng immediately flew into a rage. "Bastard," they roared. "We entered the Bodhi ancient tree together and passed through so many trials. Yet now you want to monopolize all the Bodhi seeds? Isn't that a bit too unreasonable?" Okay, that's all the content for this video. If you enjoyed it, please don't hesitate to like, share, and subscribe. After all, your support is my motivation to keep creating content. I'm Xiao. See you in the next video.